guys a question.
Oh my God.
Can I ask all you blind folks a question?
Yeah, yes, baby.
Am I the only one in the room who, because I have my own kids, right?
Yeah.
And they're 4 and 3. Am I the only one in the room who struggles with children like guiding me and doing things like that?
No, I did too.
Am I the only one who struggles with that?
Because
I never struggled with it because when I thought about how many butts I wiped, how many noses I wiped unthanklessly, and how many times I showered their hair and I showered their bodies and I dressed them and I kissed them and I lotioned them. And when I said, can you tell mommy if this is a step down or not? I decided in my mind it was not a burden. Because I did so much as a parent for them.
I guess
so much.
They didn't see that.
And they don't really care. Because if it's part of their upbringing and it's part of their world, it's not a burden. It's a part of their environment.
There are little things that we may ask the kids to do, very little things, but we don't make them obligated to guide us or
I'm not telling my kids to make me safe.
Right. No, of course.
But I want to tell you that right now that I have never had an educator with 4 children tell me that my kids were the slowest reader in the class. I have always heard that my kids were the best reader in the class. And why? Because I asked them, what does that say on the shelf? What do those ingredients say? They learn to read early out of necessity.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
I like that.
Now, Rel, is it because you think like it feels like a burden? Oh wait, go ahead.
Doesn't it also make them better people to be more empathetic?
I think so.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I also think it makes them a real person, right?
Because
To
if they see mom with a
understand the
problem, they see
perspective
other
from
people.
more than their own point of view.
Right.
Not just a blindness perspective, but their own point of view, right? Which is
I just have such a, I don't know, because I was dependent for a very long time. Until I was 21, I was very dependent. And so for me now, like being here, I'm like, no, I got it. I don't like all the
I
time.
want you to know that is a common comment.
It's like the way that other people try to, like, people who can see sometimes, like, okay, for instance, there was a situation where we were walking back from the river walk with our daughter, and this guy, we're about to cross the street, and he goes to my daughter and he stops her and he goes,
Can you get them across the street?
And me and Ariel were both like, no, what the fuck? It's not her responsibility. She's 4 years old. It's not her responsibility to guide us across the street. Don't do that. Because it puts a responsibility on her that I know how to get across the street.
And that's too much weight for a 4
But
year
that's just a random stranger asking that. And what you empower your kids to say, no, my mommy and daddy do it.
Right.
That's you empower your kids to say that. You teach them to be their own advocate very early on in life. And you teach them to announce to the world, no, I don't actually teach them shit. They already know. That's why they have me, right? So they can teach it all to me. So you don't have to feel guilty about that shit. That's a public persona.
I wouldn't say that I feel guilty about it.
Right.
But it makes me defensive of my own independence because it's like when my daughter's not here, I'm still crossing this goddamn street.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's what you want to say to them. It's like, no, you know what? We got it because even when she's in daycare or in the safe care of another individual, we're still crossing the street. Or before she was even born, I was still blind.
And then when
I
we
still
walk
was
with
crossing the
when we
street.
walk with our kids, we hold them behind us. Like we don't let them guide us. And it's because like, especially when walking downtown,
We're just so, after everything that we've gone through, we're just so protective of them that we don't even.
Sense and they're little.
Yeah, no, of course.
They would
But at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I can't say because I'm not there, but I can only imagine that I would kind of still fight for my independence in that way.
You would.
You know?
You would.
Yeah,
and at home, we don't do that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those people need to mind their own business.
Exactly.
There
At
is
the end of the day, who cares what they think? You need to just focus on you.
Yeah.
But the reality is as I've raised 4 children, and we've been in varying stages of independence and my blindness.
Right.
There have been stages when my kids have been tethered to me, not because I needed them to help me, but because I needed to track them while I was walking.
Right.
Yeah.
There are stages when my
Same here.
kids had to run because I was working a guide dog. I have been more judged about that than anything in
It's
my
like you're
life
walking
as a
like really
blind.
fast. And
That
you have to,
my
like,
kids
catch
are
up.
having to run to keep up with me as they're tethered to me and they're running because my guide dog walks too fast. That's what I've heard more than anything else in
I get
all the
that.
videos. And I have done a
Yeah,
ton
that's
of
gonna build
movies.
them leg
Right, they gonna be
muscles.
track runners.
That's gonna
You know?
build them leg
And you know
muscles.
what I say? I say at the end of the day, every parent's life is different.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
kid may be fat and plump as they sit in a car seat and get out of an able-bodied car where a visually person can drive it, but that's not my kid's life. My kids, they pump those legs.
Yep.
They use those muscles and they burn them up.
You know, we went through we
Oh,
went
yeah.
we went
my
through
life.
something when our daughter was little
Yeah.
with her daycare, and we were only able to track what was happening because we didn't put her in the back seat, jump in the front seat, and drive away.
Yeah.
We actually sat in the back seat
in the
with her,
Uber
and
with her,
before we
we're
pulled off,
evaluating her,
we're checking
feeling
her
all
body,
over
we're checking
body,
her clothes, her
her
bag,
bag.
everything.
Yeah.
And those people at that daycare, we took her out because they were mistreating her. They weren't changing her. She
Weren't
came
putting
home
her
one
in
day.
other people's
Yeah, she
clothing.
came home one day with someone else's clothes on. We would open up her bag and she still had every piece of food that we put in there. And the only way that we were able to track those things is because we were blind and we didn't drive and just slap her in the back seat and was like, okay, let's go.
That's wild.
But that's what I try to say. I'm not trying to say being a blind parent is the only way to be in tune with your child.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is a different level of parenting. It's a different level of connectivity.
Yes.
And when I say that we are high maintenance by necessity, I don't fucking joke about that.
We don't
We
ever...
get in their business. We don't helicopter parent because we're worried that other people don't know how to do the job. It's because we need to make sure the job is done.
Right.
That's
oh
all
my
that
gosh!
matters.
Like just coming,
Damn, you speaking.
just
Tracy.
coming here. Like the day we were coming, I literally had like a whole crying episode. Like I cannot.
Yeah, she was definitely stressed about leaving.
About leaving the